Welcome back. We've got some stories today from IsaacAsimovSideburns that I hope you enjoy. Yay, I got my new equipment, and I've learned more about my editing software. So I hope this sounds better. I hope you like it. Tell me what you think down in the comments. So without further ado, let's get started. This happened several years ago. I was the nighttime charge nurse over the ICU. I just finished a 12-hour shift at my hospital. That turned into a 14-hour shift because of the rapid response right before shift change. The patients responded well. I was exhausted. I had to return for a fourth shift in 9 hours. All I wanted was some items to drop into a slow cooker, so I had something to eat when I got up tonight. So I stopped at a well-known big box store that sells groceries, clothes, electronics, and the works. I'm wearing royal blue scrubs, a name tag with a big RN plastered on it, and I forgot to take my stethoscope off, so it was hanging around my neck. Well, obviously they don't. As I'm walking towards the store, I see an elderly couple struggling to load a large box in their SUV. I mean, they were old, 90 plus, and they had shaky hands. They were teetering around with limited mobility. I kinda see this with a med list, like 3 pages long. There is no way that his hips can take the weight without snapping, and I've had enough work tonight. I approached quickly, and I addressed the female half of the couple, and offered my help. It was gladly accepted, and I got their TV loaded with very little difficulty. It was more cumbersome than heavy. I'm chatting with this woman who is explaining it was a gift for their son. I was wondering why the employees weren't helping. That's when it happened. I will be the RN, and the woman will be entitled Witch, or EW.
Hey!
Startled, I stopped our conversation to look over. It's a lady in her 50s, dressed in a cheap-looking beige pantsuit with a get your manager hairstyle, standing about 15 feet away with her hands over her broad hips.
If you are about done, I need help over here.
She then points to her cart with 2 boxes of bookshelves, some assembly required. I realize that she thinks I work here.
Oh, sorry ma'am, I don't work. You're already making me late. Just get it done, and don't scratch up my paint.
The elderly lady and I exchange looks of disbelief, and I try again.
I don't work here. Just get it done.
Then she steps away from her cart and grabs her purse, grumbling about how we're effing idiots, and digging for her keys when her cart starts to roll further away, and one of the wheels goes off the curb. The entire uneven load causes the cart to topple over. I instinctively jump forward, so that I can try to prevent everything from falling. It was unsuccessful. Now EW, who has now turned to see her particle board bookshelves, spilled out on the cement. The corners of the boxes are crushed, and a few of the pieces and packages are now exposed. EW completely loses her crap, and she becomes a raging thunderbutt.
What the crap? You stupid moron! Pick them up! God dang it! Crap, I'm gonna have you fired. You owe me a new bookshelf, and I'm late.
At this point, I'm done.
Pick them up yourself. I don't work here.
Then I turn to go inside, when I feel her grab my sleeve and try to yank me around. I jerk my sleeve up out of her grip, and I turn to face her, now violently red-faced. She opens her mouth to start screaming again, but I put my finger in her face and I say,
No, don't touch me. Shut the heck up. I do not work here, and even if I did, I'd quit before helping you clean up this crap.
EW stands there speechless. Her mouth is opening and closing, sputtering in shock that I dared to raise my voice to her. That's when the manager and an employee comes out. EW sees the manager, and she finds her voice.
Are you the manager? This guy damaged my bookshelf and is refusing to pay for them.
I just stare in shock. Seriously? Having realized that a man in bright blue scrubs, with a stethoscope, and a big RN badge really doesn't work here? Instead of apologizing, she chooses to double down on her craziness, and now accuses me of breaking her stuff. Before I can voice my denial, the elderly gentleman that I helped earlier steps in and explains the situation to the manager. EW is still voicing complaints, but the manager realizes the real situation and apologizes to me and the couple. I'm still standing by, watching angrily as the manager deals with EW and inspects the bookshelves. They are not damaged. He offers her 2 new boxes, but EW is now done with the whole situation. She says no, and she's already late because of me. She just glares over at me and says to the manager,
"Just load them. I'm already late enough because of this."
The manager and the employee lift up the boxes and they wedged them into the lady's car. As I shake my head and go to enter the store, I was stopped by the elderly lady that I helped earlier. She said,
"Sir, thank you so much for helping us with the TV. I am so sorry some people are so rude."
She then reaches for my hand to shake. As she folds both of her fragile hands around mine, I feel something in her palm that she's giving me. Then she whispers,
"Don't look yet. Wait until she leaves."
I slide the package into my scrub pocket, and the lady walks away. EW gets into her car, and without apologizing or thanking anyone, she peels out and drives away. I finally entered the store to grab my food items, and when I reached in my pocket, I pulled out a plastic bag with a bunch of screws and hardware. I realized immediately that the sweet old lady, she took advantage of the commotion, and she stole the hardware out of the ripped box. I couldn't believe it. I had the biggest grin on my face as I did my shopping, and I have a new petty revenge hero to idolize. This story took place last weekend on a Sunday morning. I got a graveyard shift at a gas station after I graduated college, since I really needed the money really bad. So I clocked out of work and got into my car, and I was about to leave, when suddenly a random lady walked in front of my car. The lady stood in front of my car and looked at me for a few seconds. Then she ran to my passenger side, and she tried to open the door. This is when the conversation between me and random lady began. "Yo, what the heck are you doing? Get away from my car."
"Excuse me, mister. That's not the way you're supposed to talk to a customer."
Me beyond confused. I just clocked out 5 minutes ago, so I'm not working right now. "Customer? Lady, I don't work right now. Get the crap away from my car." The lady clearly isn't taking that answer, and she says,
"Yes, I am your customer. You're supposed to drive me to my location."
"Do I look like an Uber driver or something?"
"It says on my phone."
I actually looked at her phone. Now her driver has a full-blown beard, and I don't. So I said, "Lady, do I look like I have a forest on my face? And does this car look like a Prius?" Her driver's car was a Prius, and mine doesn't look anything like a Prius. The lady looks at me and her phone several times. Then she says, "Well, you're wearing their uniform, so I got confused." "What the crap are you talking about? My uniform is bright orange, and it says 76 gas station."
"Well, you should give a lady a ride when it's very cold and wet out here."
After she said that, without saying anything, I got back into my car, reversed my car, and left. I wasn't in the mood to waste my time on some random nobody. I just found this sub, and actually, I got a story of my own that fits perfectly. Here's a bit of background. I'm working for a private bank in the city. Now, this city has 150,000 people. Our bank is in the center of the city, and obviously there are some other banks around. In most of the banks, all employees are wearing business clothes: suit, shirt, tie, leather boots for men, and so do I. A couple of weeks ago, I was sitting at my desk and sorting out mail. Then I saw a letter that was addressed to another bank. Nothing special. The postman just made a small mistake. Usually, we just send the letter to the right address. Then I realized that the bank was literally just 300 meters away, so I just decided to drop it off during my lunch break. I started my break, went to the bank, and handed the letter to the woman at the front desk. I was already leaving the building when I saw a buddy of mine withdrawing money from the ATM. I greeted him. We went a bit to the side and started chatting about random things. After a couple of minutes, I heard someone behind me coughing, and it didn't bother me at all. Then the cough got louder, and I still did not turn around until someone grabbed my shoulder and forced me to turn around. This is where the conversation with this old witch started.
Will you finally stop that unnecessary talk and help me with the ATM already?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't help you. I don't work here.
Of course you do. You wear a suit and you helped him at the ATM.
No, he's just a friend of mine. I just met him here. At this point, my buddy starts to go into troll mode a bit. Sir, you can't refuse to help a paying customer.
How dare you lie to me? He just confirmed that you work here, and I ain't got time for that.
My friend starts laughing and says, I was just kidding. He doesn't work here. At this point, she completely loses her crap, and she starts yelling about having €500,000 in her bank, and that she's going to transfer to another bank, and that we both are going to be fired. I don't know how she wants to get my friend fired, since he's obviously not wearing a suit. Then the lady that I gave the letter to comes up to us and starts asking what the problem is. The old biddy told her that we were refusing to help her, and that we were making fun of her, and how wealthy she is, and that she wants to talk to our manager. She looks pretty confused, and also confirms that we actually don't work there. She starts yelling again that she's going to transfer everything to another bank. Then she drives off. The lady just looked at us and apologized. I told her it wasn't her fault, and we just left the bank. Now, I'm the lady in this story. I was waiting for my Uber, and I was looking for a black SUV. The corner that I was being picked up at, it's a busy intersection near multiple hotels and restaurants, so many people are temporarily parked in their cars. I get a call from the driver, and I let him know where I am and that I don't see him yet. He tells me that he's flashing his lights, so I look around for the SUV with flashing lights. At this moment, a black SUV pulls up, and he throws on his hazard lights. So I open the door and hop in the back seat. A very surprised and confused man turns around, and he says, Can I help you? I now notice that there is another black SUV across the street with her hazard lights on, and it dawns on me that this is not the car that I'm looking for.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were my Uber.
I'm glad the guy was so cool about it, and he chuckled about it, because I was mortified. I now check the vehicle type and license plate before I get in the car. This is my first encounter with the I don't work here lady. This is where a lady grabbed me yelling for me to help her. So after a minute of arguing, I yell at the top of my lungs, Unhand me, you wicked witch! I don't work here! The cops then enter the store, arrest her, and everyone begins clapping and cheering. And then a super hot woman manager gave me a job and took me out for dinner. I'm just kidding, obviously. So, a couple of days ago, I went to the nearest grocery store to pick up some stuff for dinner. The employees there wear all black, and they have their label on the back of their shirts. I was wearing black jeans, a gray shirt, and a black hoodie. I don't have any logos or name tags anywhere. I had my basket and I was clearly shopping. I had in my earbuds listening to some really awesome music when I heard someone yelling. I didn't pay it much attention. Then someone grabbed my hood and pulled me back. I took my earbuds out and I turned around mad. Then I saw the woman. She looked like she was in her late 20s or early 30s. Then the conversation went something like this.
Typical man thinking it's okay to ignore a woman. Are you ready to help me now?
What the crap?
I don't work here. I don't care. I don't work here. I don't care about your excuses. Never mind. Just get your manager.
I tried telling her, but she cuts me off again.
Get your freaking manager now.
Okay, wait here. I'll go get him. She gave me the most obnoxious smile ever. I left her there while I got the rest of my stuff and paid for it and left. I go to this store weekly, and I've never been confused for an employee before. I'll never understand why people think it's okay to treat others like that. And to the people who work retail that have to deal with people like this daily, I'm sorry. As I was leaving, I looked back and she was standing in the same spot I left her. It was a few days before Christmas. I was in a supermarket wearing a red ski jacket, and I had a purse hanging on my shoulder and probably keys in my hand. I'm clearly not an employee, just getting a few quick items. I was walking toward the exit, off to the side, and ahead of me were two older, retired-age gentlemen. They were talking as they watched me approach. As I got closer, they stopped talking, and their attitudes changed to a watchful wait. I started getting a bit apprehensive. They seemed to be expecting me, and this is what happened.
"Excuse me, miss. Where's this item?"
One asked. I answered, saying something about where I thought it was. Why were they asking me? I'm clearly not an employee.
"Thanks,"
said the same man. Then he took off on the hunt. I was just a bit bemused when his companion said,
"Oh, he knows you don't work here. We can never find an employee when we need one. So he said he was going to say something to the first person he saw wearing red. And that's you. And it worked. You knew where it is."
I laughed, and I agreed it was a good idea. Here's a bit of background. There's a theme park a mile or two away from the town I grew up, and me and four of my friends, we all had special all year round admission passes, so we went pretty much every weekend. We were about 13 at the time, and this was 2010. It's also worth mentioning that I'm pretty darn tall for a girl. In fact, I'm 6'3", and back then I was about 5'9" or 5'10", if memory serves me right. So mistaking me for an adult was within the realm of possibility, even for someone who isn't a complete moron. The employees at this park wore different colored polos and t-shirts depending on where in the park they worked, as well as black or brown pants or shorts. And I was wearing a red t-shirt and brown shorts that day, which I was slightly concerned about at the time. Now, one, I'm barely a teenager, so I didn't expect to be mistaken for an employee. And two, I really wanted to show off my new t-shirt to my friends. And three, if on the on or off chance somebody did mistake me for an employee, I could just tell them that I was a guest and they'd understand, right? Right? Wrong. I was so very hopelessly wrong. So this gaggle of young teenage girls spent the whole day riding every single ride, playing every game, and being scammed by every rigged arcade machine. After we were done with most rides, we were ready for the biggest, best ride in the park. Every park has one ride that most everyone thinks of. We always saved that ride for last. We finally decided to go get some food because we were hungry. I had just gotten some fries and was walking away to meet my friends when someone tapped me on my shoulder, so I turned around. That's when my little minute of hell began. Enter entitled jerk.
"Where are you taking those fries?"
Excuse me? What do you mean?
"Who ordered those fries? Where are they?"
These are mine. What are you talking about? Do you think I work here?
"Well, of course you do. How come whatever lazy butthole who ordered those fries get them taken off to him when I have to wait in line?"
Mister, I don't work here. These are my fries.
"Don't mess with me, witch. Here's a little something for the jerk who thought he was too good to be in line."
Then he spat on my fries. It was at this point that my friend showed up. She had been at the stall a few feet away and must have seen me in trouble. And she's twice the woman I am, even back then.
What's going on?
I didn't say anything. I was just kind of in shock. The entitled jerk, on the other hand, was more than happy to speak up.
"Are you the one who can't stand to be bothered to wait for her food like everyone else? Well, kid, your precious fries are ruined, so get in line."
My friend looked at my fries and immediately realized what transpired. He must have been 10 inches taller and 200 pounds more than her, and grabbed him by the shirt, and then she said to him,
"Listen here, a-hole. You just ruined my friend's fries, and you will pay for more, or else."
"Or else what?"
She then proceeds to kick the entitled jerk hard in the shins. Probably a stupid move, but it was nice to see the guy in pain. At this point, a real employee approached. The entitled jerk immediately turned to her.
"That little crap kicked me! How come she doesn't have to wait in line?"
"This guy spat in my friend's fries."
After some drawn-out bickering and explaining, the entitled jerk caved in, gave an unenthusiastic apology, and practically sprinted off. I got 2 free portions of fries, and after eating them, we went on the big ride and I felt much better right away. This happened in my first big girl job. It was with my college town's Department of Aging. I was their communications coordinator, and part of my job was to go around town to try to rustle up some contributions, gift cards, and merchandise to use for raffles so we can raise money for the senior center. At the time of this story, I had only been working there for a few weeks, so I stopped at a popular fast food place so I can see if I can snag a gift card. The cashier said she didn't have the authority to issue one, but her boss would be back in a few minutes and told me I could wait. I had the time, so I stepped to the side and waited. As I was waiting, an older lady that I met at the senior center approached me.
Hi, good to see you. Yes, could you get me some more pickles for my sandwich? I don't think I should wait in line for a few pickles. Sorry, I don't work here. I'm just waiting to see the manager. You're the manager. You have a badge. It's me, Annie. This badge is from the Department of Aging, see?
I show her my badge, and she peers at me like she's connecting the dots.
Oh, you were the little girl helping in the kitchen at the senior center luncheon, weren't you?
I was kind of put off by being called a little girl, but I still remained friendly.
Yes, that's me. That was a fun time, wasn't it? Well, you know your way around the kitchen then. I'm sure you won't mind to go back there and get me some pickles.
Luckily, at that time there was another person behind the counter who overheard the exchange, and they gave her the pickles really quick. I told my boss about the encounter later, and she thought it was hysterical. It's become a running joke for her to call me back to her office, just to ask me if I can get her some more pickles. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed those stories, please give me a thumbs up. Man, I'm really enjoying this setup. I'm glad I was able to make the time to do this. We've been so busy lately, but I've got more coming on the way. Again, thank you very much, and I will see you very soon.